do this. Hello everybody and welcome to another live broadcast for the AOR PC GT3 leagues. This is PC Tier 1 and we are here for round 5 of Season 10 at Donnington Park. I'm Fizzy, back in the box after a week out of it. And joining me as usual is the amazing King of the World, King-Kodiak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is indeed Donnington Park, as we see. Ironic, that corner slightly wrong. That was around the old hairpin in the Lambo. Yes, this classic track is actually due to see some rain. We've actually got some mixed conditions in this evening's race, so that should be quite awesome to see. We've had the endurance, we've had night, and we've of course had dry, and now we are seeing the wet.
Indeed, yeah, we got heavy cloud and some rain forecasted at the moment. In qualifying, it is heavy cloud. We've got, 21 cars, I believe?
21, yes. Well, 21 including Andrex, who's going to be our pace car.
Oh, yeah. The safety car, man, Andrex as well. So, yeah, 20 drivers then, which means points for everyone who finishes.
Yes.
But, of course, it's about how high you finish. And all of these guys, especially the championship contenders, want to fight for as many points as possible. One crucial thing for the championship really is that one of our top 4 drivers in the standings, Speed Demon, who's done very well, was sitting 4th in the standings after the first 4 rounds. He is unfortunately missing from the grid today, I guess for personal reasons, which means it's, you know, based on the races so far, you would think it's going to be a battle between Storm, Heidi and Jadier for the win of this race, but you never know. There are 17 other drivers as well who I'm sure wants to pull off as a prize and get themselves involved in the battle for the win.
Indeed, and of course the mixed conditions will really test our drivers on how well they can adapt from the bone dry conditions that everybody would have practiced and everyone is used to, and let's see how well they can adapt their setups as well as their driving styles to the slippery conditions. And Donnington is twisty and bumpy, so it is going to be a big challenge for our drivers as they are now starting their time lapse. As you can see, I'm just going through the field and displaying who is here. There is one of our lead contenders, one of our race winners for this season, to Heidi in the Z4. It'll be interesting to see how he does. You can see how much opposite lock he's already putting in as he came out of McLean's, now coming through Coppice. Coppice is a very tricky circuit. Corner rather. You're coming up a crest, braking, and then basically aiming for a completely blind apex. You kind of have to throw the car and hope that you do hit the right place. Scott there in the Mercedes, just coming around Melbourne hairpin. The times are now starting to come on the board. Storm currently on top of the pile, 126.460. Oh, no, beg your pardon, that's Jardier's time in the Audi. Storm is 126.703. They're all Scott. Ooh, there is that Mercedes we just mentioned. He's stuck in second. Well, I did not expect the Mercedes to be a strong contender. Wow, that was a big old snap of oversteer, and that's Redgate Corner, the first turn, which is much more difficult than it actually looks. Storm, as they now demoted to third. Popsu in the next Audi. Beg your pardon, no, fourth has just gone to Nagram in the Lamborghini. 127.1, just 6/10 down. Go Lambo. No lemon Lambos, but that one is the Rainbow Lambo. And there was Popsu, as previously mentioned, giving it plenty of beans coming through the Fogarty S's. Conor McCoy looked like he was getting out of someone's way there. Currently in 6th, 127.440. At Alexis in his Lamborghini, currently 7th, 127.720. Alexis did report he wasn't feeling too well, so if he retires very suddenly, we know that things haven't gone too well for him. Nick Meadow in the McLaren, right in the middle of the pack. Now that is good to see. He's struggled.
Oh, wow, huge change at the top.
Whoa!
4/10s faster than anyone so far.
Wow.
126 flat. That's marker to set down, definitely. Oh, never mind. Jadier's just gone and improved one back by 10.5 immediately. So the Jadier in the Audi going back up to the top spots. Of course, the reigning champion of this league.
Ooh, ironic. 1:26.580 has just put the Lamborghini into third. That's 7/10. Wow, there's a gap between second and third. 6/10 between those two alone. And oh wow, there's the Z4 of Daheidi. Now it's just jumped up into there. 1:26.5. That's still 6/10 down. Wow, that's committed through Redgate. Yeah, Jardier, what a stunning time.
Yeah, fantastic lap there, and the top 2 in the class of their own so far. This reminds me of season 9.
Yeah. Oh yes.
At the front with a big gap to everyone else. It was of course those two that was battling sort of for the win in most of the races last season. This season, of course, we got Daheidi, we got Storm, especially who's leading the championship, of course, or mix themselves well and truly in, and a few others as well. But yeah, Jardier and Popsu getting out of the blocks well in this qualifying session with only 4 minutes remaining.
Oh, Popsu's determined. He was on the gas a little bit early. He was actually nearly 2/10 up. Does he improve? He does. He lost all that time in that last turn. Well, it's a bit of a shame too. He did improve 1:26. Absolutely dead.
You of times you can never get.
Cannot get more dead than that. Storm has jumped up to third with a 1:26.0. Immediately returned to the pits and is now coming out on a fresh set. Popsu has decided to come out. Now we've got 4 drivers within 2/10. Yeah. So now starting to
Storm
really...
and Erotica both gone straight up there, and unfortunately for them have just the hundreds a little bit not on their side to get into second.
Let's follow a lap through. We don't often do this with the Lamborghini, but let's follow a lap through then with Ironic. He's come through the cranny curves. Now is just jumped through the old hairpin. Now into Starkey's Bridge. Then Schwanz curve is now starting to come back uphill. Then into McLean's. This can be quite a tricky one. It is uphill and off camber. He handles that one well. Now here's Coppis, the blind left-hander. Catches that one well. You need, as soon as you commit to it, you have to hope that you've done it right, because if you bail, you're into a massive, great big grass runoff, and you will lose so much time along the Dunlop straight into the Fogarty S's, left and right. Now heading towards the Melbourne hairpin. He's a 10th down though, so unless he pulls an absolute blinder in this last sector, he's quite deep. And really kicks the tail out. I was seeing a lot of people doing that actually. So that's a way to rotate the car. Oh, very, very deep into that last turn, and then back onto the Wheatcross straight. Does Ironic improve? Did he find any time? He did not. He lost a whole bucket load of time indeed.
Yeah. I think he lost it on the penultimate corner really, and then instead of trying to go as fast as he could through the final corner, he set himself instead of for the next lap.
Dinder up to 5th, and in the Mercedes we are seeing quite a shake-up. Wow, there was a considerable amount of opposite lock then for that big old Merc coming through McLean's, I think it was. Oh no, big button, that was the old hairpin. That we're seeing a lot of sliding around, a lot of very, very loose cars. It's very entertaining for us to see. As Daheidi then comes through McLean's. Yet again, a big old... They didn't handle that one quite as well as the last one. But he continues then. Jardier, the only man in the 125s at the moment, with less than 1.5 minutes to go. Jardier is out there once again. He's 1.5 tenths up, would you believe? So this is what it looks like from on board. He's coming through McLean's now. As I say, that's the off-camber corner. Tail twitch ever so slightly, but not too bad. That's what it looks like. You cannot see the apex until you commit. So it just takes practice and faith, basically, to get the car to where you need it to be. Ironic is back at the pit. He will not improve from 4th position, along with Zenny in 10th. And Berserker in 17th. Andrex, of course, is our pace car, so he will not be setting a time. He is 2.5 tenths up, as now coming into Melbourne for what will be the last time. He's got 30 seconds of the clock, unless he chooses to do another time lap after this one, but I hope for his competitor's sake that he doesn't. Now into the last turn, coming back onto the Wheatcross straight. Hunter has decided to call it a day. He's in 19th, so not a great run for him. Jardier is coming to the line. Dinder is he lost some time, but still improved. 125.780. Now 2 tenths ahead of the rest.
Fantastic lap there for Jardier, and he's still got some time to set something on his final lap, although he's a bit on the grass there through the first corner. Let's see. It's down to Popsu and Storm really to do anything about Jardir, because Ironic and Dinda in 4th and 5th, they're back in the pits. The Heidi down in 6th place, a little bit surprising at the moment. Maybe this track... I thought that this track suits the Z4 pretty well, but yeah, he's back in the pits now as well.
Yeah, he spun on that run. He just spun coming through Svans curve, so that's the end of him. And Alexis has been disqualified. I've just had pop up. I don't know why that would be the case, but just had a message pop up on the race feed. Ascaro Alexis is disqualified apparently.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe he's.
I don't know.
Whatever. That's,
push the track limits a little bit too often. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But oh dear. So that's going to put Alexis at the bottom of the heap. Shadia is still out there. Storm is back in the pit. He didn't improve, so he will start no higher than 3rd.
Let's see where's Popsu. He's coming towards the line. Can he do something? Oh, he's done it! By 300ths of a second, he's on pole position. Get Jardir now. Take it back with no time at all left in the session. He
no!
Do it.
Oh my goodness me! Out of nowhere, the red Audi of Popsu. Exactly as you say, this old rivalry has resumed. We haven't seen Jardir and Popsu cross swords too many times this season, and we saw it constantly last time. And Popsu now on the top spot. Villalobos has crossed the line in the Sisters at 4. He will start no higher than 10th. Nagram is already under AI control in that rainbow Lamborghini. In 11th place. Wow, God, talk about leaving it to the last for Popsu. Stunning effort.
Oh man, fantastic stuff. We did see Popsu, of course, last season steal a couple of pole positions away from Jardir. He's not had the best start of this season, sitting 6th in the championship. No, 7th actually, yeah, because Inda moved ahead of him last week. So he's 7th in the championship. He's yet to finish at the podium this season, but he's going to start this race at Donnington on pole position for fantastic stuff. The return of Popsu in that Audi. Jardir is going to be on the front of the row with him, and then the championship leader, Storm in 3rd, Ironic in 4th, ahead of... Oh god, I've had some kind of problem here. My game seems to have frozen.
I'll carry on going with the list. It's a Dinder S in 5th, the Heidi 6th. That's very surprising. Gibbs in 7th. Great effort for him. Scott in 8th in the Mercedes. And Alexis, I had that message pop up that he was disqualified, but he did qualify 9th. Villalobos 10, Nagram 11, Zenny 12, Bo in 13th, Nick Meadow 14, Colonel McCoy 15, Two Desert Pack 16, Noah 17, Berserker 18, Van Ommen 19, and Hunter, it was actually demoted to the back of the pack.
Yeah, I think...
Is your game gone cuckoo?
Yeah, let's see if I can get back in first of all before we call any sort of crisis mode.
Well,
yeah, my game did crash, which is the first time I've had anything like this on Podcast 2, actually.
Ah. Well, you've got some time to rejoin, as we are currently looking at the grid. With, of course, Popsu in the Audi. So it's an Audi top 3 of Popsu, Jardier and Storm. Ironic in 4th in the Lamborghini. A great effort then for the Italian mark with Dinder in that Mercedes. We saw him do some storming driving in Indianapolis. To Heidi in the Z4 after a promising start hasn't quite recaptured that form. Gibbs in 7 in the Thrustmaster coloured Audi, then Scott in the next Mercedes in 8th, and Alexis was seemingly allowed to keep. I assume when it says disqualified, he's not allowed to take any further part in quali because he is still in 9th. And Villalobos in 10th position then, and his stuck our safety car, of course, at the back because he couldn't set any times. Well, he could have done, but I'm not really too sure he would have beaten any of the GT3s. If he beat the GT3s in a Road C, they were having a very bad day.
Indeed, yeah. So luckily I made my way back into the lobby, so we can now see all of the lovely, colourful GT3 cars standing out on the grid. Andrex at the back in that Corvette, ready to lead.
Is that the car you can see at the moment?
Yeah, Andrex, yes, indeed.
And now to Heidi?
Yep.
Just fine, just double checking that you are actually being controlled by me.
Yeah, so, I am under full control by the King still.
So for those unfamiliar with the setup, then of course the lights have been ignored. It's 41 laps, but that is including the formation lap that is being led by Andrex UK in the pace car. For this time he has chosen the trusty Corvette. So they will be led around the field. I'll bring up the speedo at what will be along the straighter bit around 80 miles an hour, 120 kilometers an hour, of which the drivers are allowed to weave and warm up their tyres and brakes and what have you. And then once Andrex gets back onto the Wellington Straight, the Wheatcroft Straight, Wellington Straight? No, I'm back in Silverstone. Wheatcroft Straight, beg your pardon. He will return to the pits and, of course, take no further part in the race. And then at the beginning of Sector 3 is when the 2x2 line will be reformed, and Popsu then will lead the field at 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour to the start-finish straight, the Wheatcroft Straight. And once he has crossed the line, he is then able to floor it to signify the beginning of the race. But we are due rain at some point. Of course, we have 2 weather slots in this race. It is dry at the moment, but it is going to rain later on. But of course, it's not necessarily bang on the halfway point when the rain will happen. So that's going to be an interesting mix-up for this race.
Yeah, definitely. I love how Andrex is flashing his lights to give the extra safety car effect. That's always good. Followed by Popsu through the chicane, and this should be where they will be starting to form up in a moment.
So it's at this hairpin where they'll form. There we go. So Jardier will be taking his position. There you go. You can see the 2x2 line now starting to be formed, and Andrex will sprint off to get into the pits and out of the way before the drivers start. We have actually lost one of our drivers, unfortunately.
It's Berserker.
Oh no!
Unfortunately, Berserker is out before the race has even started, which is always a very big shame to see.
Oh, great shame. He's had a pretty decent qualifying for him. So then, Popsu, and there he goes. We are racing here at Donnington Park. Jardier slots in right behind him to defend the line and maintain the second position. Look at Dinder. He is looking for a diving move on the inside of Redgate. He's already gone up to 4th place in the Mercedes. That's Andrex then jumping out of the session. That's absolutely fine. Everybody seems to have made it through okay so far. Great stuff for the Mercedes. There's Ironic and all kinds of pressure. Oh, Ironic's off. Oh, he is going to send him a very long way off. Just as I looked at him, he fell off the circuit, and that's put him down to last.
I don't know if there was any contact there to the back of Ironic's car, but either way, something made him lose control completely. Luckily, he didn't hit any barriers out there on the gravel, as this is the Heidi trying to keep Scott.
Oh, there's another one off! Storm!
Storm, the championship leader, is off, and Dinder is up to 3rd place. Dinder's on good form, has had 5th and 4th in the last 2 races. Now he's up to 3rd at Donington. And the championship leader is a bit under pressure here at the start of this race. And Dinder's gone sideways through the chicane now. Storm back up to 3rd. Dinder dropping behind the Heidi as well. Might even drop behind the other Mercedes of Storm as he's going to climb the inside into the hairpin. And look at this. Storm very deep. The Heidi's been tapped. Oh, there's contact with Scott as well. And it's going to be side by side into the final corner for the BMW and the Mercedes. Who's going to come out on top here?
Oh, that's way too deep. Goodness me, this is GT3 touring car racing. There's a lot of impact going on everywhere. Look at that pack of cars there. Scott now up to 4th because of the jostling going on to Heidi, thinking about an inside move to Redgate. Decides better of it. Gibbs up to 6th. Dinder all the way down to 7th now. And that's Villalobos on the back. So he's had a fairly good start. He's right with that particular pack. Jardier and Popsu still up the front. Jardier is just half a second off the back of Jardier, but there's 1.5 seconds between Jardier and Storm. So Storm back up to 3rd and has broken free a little bit of Storm, but look how close to Heidi is to Storm. Z3, right, wrong again. Z4 trying everything he can to get past that big old Mercedes. Again, has a think about it. On the inside of Coppers, it's very dangerous to try and move there. Look how much opposite lock he's putting in. So whether people have gone for a wet setup is going to be interesting. But we're seeing so many people having to drift their cars to get them around. I mean, the cars will go light at that point because they're going over a crest. But it's amazing. I wasn't expecting this much opposite lock. But Heidi is very much nailed to the back of that blue Mercedes. Looking further back, that's Dinder and Villalobos side by side coming towards that last corner as well. The Z4 not quite able to do anything at the moment. Zenny and Alexis in there. Oh, what a move then by Alexis to keep Zenny behind. That's decent battling going on there. That's for 9th place. Just behind them is Colonel McCoy and Bo. So it is, as we've come to expect in this split, it is going off all over the place.
Yeah. It's been a problem for Nick Mito, who's down to 18th place. Nagrom as well down to last, but the whole field relatively close together. There's not any huge gaps having formed so far. There's of course the 2-second gap from the top 2. Sort of Popsu and Jadir have been able to pull away a little bit due to all the crazy battling we've had for the positions behind that. Here comes Dinder though. He wants to recover from his mistake at the chicane. And can't find any way through there. There's a racing line is going from side to side, and look at that, Villalobos.
What a drive!
Oh, look at that! It's side by side for 4th place. Scott. Inside of that long right-hander, but he's lost a bit of speed on the exit. It's almost door banging coming down towards the chicane, and I think Tihaidi should have this unless he does something stupid on the braking, but he's nailed that. He is still ahead, but he's so much under pressure here.
Absolutely. It's such a narrow track and very, very bumpy. It's so easy for the cars to get very unsettled. Look how early they committed to the inside line. They know Gibbs is there as well. So there's a pretty decent start for him. And again, looking through the field, Jardier is right with Popsu as well. It's difficult to know which battle to look at. That's what it looks like for Jardier. So he's still chasing the back of that particular leader. That's Villalobos staring at the back of the three-way battle we were just seeing. Dindo's right with him as well, though he's not had a good run out that last turn. So he's lost a little bit of time off the back of Villalobos. But look at Gibbs. He is right with Scott's blue Mercedes. Looks like Heidi's managed to break away a little bit as they are going through Hollywood, the corner curves, and then through the old hairpin. But again, look how much Gibbs is able to close Scott in at that point. Bo has brought his car in, so taking an early stop then for the white Mercedes. Oh, Jardier is going very close to Popsy, but no, I thought they was going to try and move there. But Jardier, Popsy's got a little bit wide coming through Coppis. Is this an opportunity for Jardier on the braking zone of the Fogarty S's? Popsy staying to the inside line. Jardier going with the outside. He's not going to be able to make a move there unless he forces Popsy into an unpredictable line. Not particularly. Now Jardier is going to want the inside line for the Melbourne hairpin, and that's exactly what Popsy has closed off. So Jardier having to go back to the outside, and that's bringing Storm in. Oh, what a late breaking move. Jardier cannot get the traction when he needs it, but that's bringing Storm right in there. Jardier is still on the inside of the red Audi of Popsy, who's now going to have the inside line for the last turn, and he's got him. Jardier is now the race leader, but Storm is right there as well.
Wow, incredible stuff. Popsu needed to defend that from Jardier. We know how good Jardier is now that he's got clean air ahead of him and he's got the position he wants. Jardier barely ever gets repassed, but yeah, it was so crucial for Jardier out of this penultimate corner just to keep his nose ever so slightly next to Popsu so that Popsu couldn't move to the left and cover that inside line. And as a result, Popsu ran wide of the final corner, and job done for the reigning champion. Jardier into the lead of this race, and the championship leader for season 10, Storm, as you said, has been brought right into this. It's now a three-way fight for first place.
Absolutely, we've just lost Bo, unfortunately. Oh, that's a big moment for Popsu. He's potentially lost their second place. Storm has flown past. Yeah, I wonder whether Storm had Popsu rather had a slowdown warning there, because he just suddenly lost a whole bucket load of speed. And that has then allowed Storm to come through to second. That is not what Jardier wanted. He was hoping that... look at the lap time, 27.1 by Storm last time around. Of course, Popsu and Jardier were holding each other up, and that just shows you how much time they lost to Heidi at 27.2. So he's on brilliant pace as well. You can easily expect that his Z4 to be right in this battle within the next few laps.
Oh, it's a battle for P6 between Villalobos and Scott as well. They're going to be nearly side by side through that. But Scott's already on this lap lost out to Gibbs, who's moved himself up to 5th place, and he's dropped another position with Villalobos getting past him through that hairpin and holding on through the final corner as well. So only on lap 6, but we've had so much action. Zenit getting involved in this huge train now as well, which stretches from 5th place, Gibbs, downwards as 6 cars, in this particular train.
And Alexis is wide.
And Alexis in that Lamborghini. Could that give Zenny a chance going down the hill? It's not really the easiest place to be side by side, and Zenny, I don't know if he backed out of it or if he just didn't get the exit he needed there. But either way, it's going to be hard to make a move into this fast right-hander. But Alexis again has gone wide and he's on the grass, and that's going to put the Audi of Zenny ahead of him and into 9th place.
Indeed, and Alexis just a little bit too deep. So easy to do at the old hairpin, and that has allowed the Audi to slip through. Jumping back up to the front though, Popsu is losing time against Storm. Still getting the 27-1. Jade on 27-0. That just shows you how much pace he was losing fighting Popsu. An incredible pace there. Popsu, again, as you say, he's quite a bit off the pace at the moment. There you see Tahidi in the Z4, not too far behind. Gibbs leading that 6-car train, as we previously mentioned. Other battles going on. We've got Hunter on the back of Ironic. Ironic qualified up right up there in 4th, so his race has not started well. But it could well balance out when the rain arrives. We know that there's rain due, we just don't know exactly when. Noah is not too far at the back of Nick Meadow in the McLaren. Nagra and Colonel McCoy and 2 Desert Pack round out the field at the moment. 18 cars remain, but it could and is highly likely to completely shuffle up when the rain falls. 26-9 by Storm last time around, so he is really keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, daunting lap time there from Storm, but Jadir nearly matched him only a 10th off, so he did a 27 flat, which shows what he can do when he's out of the battle with Popsu, and got that clear air. Popsu has dropped a couple of seconds since he got past, so it seems like the race pace of Popsu isn't quite matching up to his qualifying performance at the moment for whatever reasons. But of course, it's going to be a long race and things could change, but yeah, it's going to be a tough race for the reigning champion this, Jadir. He's very used to leading the race, not as much this season as last season, but when he's got Storm, who's won the last 3 races in a row, right on the back of him, you know he's going to have a tough task on his hand, of course, but it's crucial for Jadir if he wants to keep his championship hopes alive, to try and take as many points he can away from Storm. He's 46 points behind him in the championship at the moment in 3rd place. The Heidi is 36 points off Storm, so Storm has built a solid lead at the start of this season, and Jadir, I'm sure, will be motivated to at least to not let him extend that gap further in this race.
Indeed. Jade now getting into the sub-27s with that 26.977 Storm. Less than a 10th quicker, of course. He is chasing that tail fin, but we haven't seen anything quicker from Storm at the moment, so Storm could be absolutely maxed out, and Jardier could be matching him as Noah gets a penalty for himself. To Heidi, it's within a second of Popsu now. So Popsu, whether he's got damage, he was 1.2 seconds off the leaders last time around. So whether he's sustained damage, we didn't see impact on the red Audi. It doesn't mean he hasn't sustained anything. But 27.3 then from Heidi, so very good pace from the Z4. Villa Lobos in the next Z4, so those two are 4th and 6th. A decent handful of points for that team at the moment. He still chases Gibbs for 5th position. This big pack we saw earlier has separated a bit. We saw Alexis with running a bit wide and letting Zenny through. But Zenny is still not too far at the back of Dinder either. Noah is still chasing Nick Meadow. That's Banner for 13th position, and Van Orman and Colonel McCoy are within a second as well for 16th place. That is our battles at the moment, and Storm has made a mistake. He's just lost about a second's worth of time off his Jardier. So he's lost a significant chunk. Look at the gap now. So 1.5 seconds nearly between the two. Let's have a look at the lap times. 27.2, 27.8. So it's still quick, but he has I think he's put a wheel on the grass somewhere.
Yeah, he's definitely made some little mistake on that lap. The Heidi, though, is going to put some pressure on Popsu, who keeps losing time to the top 2, despite Storm's mistake. Popsu was still 3 tenths slower than him. The Heidi, though, was 8 tenths of a second faster than Popsu, so Popsu is going to have another tough task here. He wants to keep hold of a podium position. He's not finished on the podium so far this season. He had a lot of podiums in Season 9, but this season, as we were used to, the competition has just stepped up another level with the people like the Heidi and Storm coming into the league as well. And it is the Heidi who is going to put some pressure on the Audi driver. Z4 versus Audi. Who's going to come out on top?
Indeed. Back onto the straight, and Popsu jumping right over to the right-hand side again. Heidi has more of a distraction technique. It's not an overtaking spot unless the person you're chasing flies over the chicane. You're not really going to do anything there at the Fogarty S's. Heidi then is going to have a look on the inside of the Melbourne hairpin. There he goes. Can he slow it down? Oh, Popsu nearly slammed at the back of the BMW. He's come straight back at Heidi, side by side then, but Heidi is going to have the inside for the final turn. And that should grant him that third place. Popsu thinking about switchback again. Oh, great move. Can he get the traction, though? Let's get on board with the Audi. No, the Z4 has managed to power away. And again, that's 7/10 difference between Popsu and Heidi. So Popsu seemingly, after a great start, is struggling for some reason. So I think it's fair to say there must be damage on his car. We didn't see what the incident was. Storm closed in 3/10 on Jardier. In that last lap, is 10 laps down and another 30 to go.
Yeah, Popsu was trying that cutback, as you said, out of the final corner. I think he was just understeering a bit too much. He was safe, he kept his foot in out of the final corner. He would have just understeered into the side of the Audi, so he had to give up that position. He gets what he needs, of course. Now he's got a job in his hand to close the 4 seconds to the top 2 if he wants to challenge those 2. So top 3 in the race, though, is matching the top 3 in the championship, just in slightly different order. If you put Jardier behind the 2 that are chasing him.
Oh, Villalobos, sorry to cut you off, Fizz. And the second Z4 is having a think about it. And again, we've seen this is the exact same situation we've just witnessed. A different Z4 chasing a different Audi, and sadly Villalobos didn't have a good run through the Fogarty S's, which put him a little bit too far back for the hairpin. That was his best opportunity there, but he has been stuck behind that Audi for quite a while. And just behind them, that's a 3-way battle for 7th into Scott and Zenny. So 2 Mercedes and 1 Audi that is in that particular battle. You can see how close they are. Oh, the tail of that blue Merc just got very loose. He tried to get the traction when he wanted it, and it was not wanting to stick. So can Zenny do anything into red gates? You can see that Scott has stuck it in the middle of the track to defend the inside line. He does indeed defend that particular position. Storm gained another 3/10 on Jardier, so it's not going to be long before those 2 cross swords once again. Popsu's still trying to hang on to the back of the Heidi, but Popsu now actually getting a 27.8. That's the first time he's been under 28 for quite a few laps, but he still lost half a second on Heidi. Heidi actually a 10th quicker than Jardier, so if Jardier and Storm start crossing swords, that could bring Heidi right back in the game as well. Villalobos on the back of Gibbs, as we just seen. It's still going off here, there and everywhere.
Yeah, I think it could be a battle for 8th place actually, potentially, because Zenny's put in a good lap last time out, 1:27.8. It's almost he's matching some of the top guys anyway. So he's right on the back of Scott in the Mercedes, who's right on the back of the other Mercedes of Jinder, of course, who's dropped down a bit after he was challenging for the podium places in the first lap. But it's Zenny who's on the move and wanting to push the pressure on the Mercs. It's going to be too deep though at that particular corner.
Yeah. So Zenny then is still, I thought he was getting a little bit deep then into that last turn, managed to keep hold of it. Oh, is that Villalobos making a move? No, he was making himself very, very known in the mirrors of the Audi. Heidi did a 27.7 last time. I think he's actually having to defend from Popsu, because Popsu is actually matching Heidi's pace now. But yet again, every lap for the last 5 laps or so, Storm has closed in 3/10. So yet again, another chunk of time has been lost from the lead as Hunter gets a penalty as well.
Yeah, I think Hunter and Noah in a battle maybe. Their gap times are certainly very close indeed now. It's about a couple of tenths, but yeah, it is a battle between the 2 guys with a penalty.
1 second and 2 seconds, so 2 seconds for Noah, 1 for Hunter. So Noah has got to overhaul him. That'll be just wandering off the road and not slowing down before the penalties expire, more than likely. And Zenny, wrong Audi. Noah keeping the pressure on, but Zenny's actually fallen off the back. Oh no, sorry, it's Scott that's made a mistake. Scott was ahead of Zenny, he's now 2 seconds behind him, so that particular 3-way battle has essentially shattered with the mistake of the blue Mercedes. And now Jardier's responded. He's opened up the lead by 2/10. So now 8/10 thereabouts between the lead two Audis. De Heide lost about half a second on Storm. So as hard as he's pushing, he's not able to close that gap. And actually Popsu is starting to find his pace again. 27.5 from the red Audi. So he's actually closing in the gap to De Heide now. So interesting from Popsu, who's struggling to maintain a consistent pace in his Audi. Villalobos still staring at the back of the Thrustmaster coloured Audi as they are now coming towards the old hairpin. See if the Z4 is able to do anything against that green and black Audi that he's been staring at for a while. Through McLean's, heading towards the ever tricky Coppice. If you make a mistake there, you will fly off the road, and because it's the longest straight we have here, you're losing so much time. You may not necessarily lose a great deal of speed, but the amount of time you're not full throttle because you wandered off the road really, really hurts if you make a mistake at Coppice.
Yeah, definitely. I have to say I'm in love with that green and black Thrustmaster livery on that Audi. It's looking absolutely lovely. That's a very late braking for Villalobos, nearly getting alongside almost, but compromises exit a little bit as a result of it. Villalobos though, very tight turn for him. Getting very close to the Audi. Gibbs though making it hard for him. I have to say Gibbs has been very impressive this race so far. He's not had the best season so far. He's shown glimpses of awesome driving, but he's only 15th in the championship. He's finished 17th for the last 2 weeks, so this is sort of a return to form for Gibbs as well, running in 5th place.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, just over half a second that separates Storm and Jardier at the front of the field. 5 seconds back now to De Heide, who just has not been able to match the pace of the lead two Audis. Will we see the Z4? There he is. Still got Popsy not too far behind. Popsy lost. Oh, hello. I've just seen these two swap round on the names, and what a great move then by Villalobos.
Into the blind right-hander?
It does look like it, or he did, or Gibbs had to slow down, and therefore let the Z4 through. But if he did a move on the outside of Coppice, that is incredibly impressive. I know it's a very good cornering car for the Z4, but that is a hell of a brave move. I would assume that Gibbs had a slowdown there. So he's gone too wide at McLean's and got the obligatory slowdown warning, which has allowed Villalobos through, but he's got to be able to break away. We've seen how long he's been piling on the pressure on the back of the black and green Audi. Now can he break away? And we'll then see how well Gibbs can be attacking. There's Dinder in the background we've just seen in that shot. And looking at leader's pace, that's 0.02 of a second difference between Jardier and Storm. To Jardier's favour, actually De Heide was quickest of the top three, but he's now 6 seconds down from the leader.
Indeed. I'm looking down towards the bottom of the field, and Mr. Van Ommen is struggling for unknown reasons. Of course, Jardier's teammate, he usually is seen higher up in the field than this, but yeah, 17th, second to last out of the remaining runners in this race at the moment. And you can see there, he's not feeling too comfortable in that car, it would seem.
Yeah, very loose indeed. Actually, just in the background, you actually did notice the leaders are actually coming up to the Fokker DS's as Van Orman starts another lap. There's 2 Desert Pack behind him, so they could well come under pressure from the leaders very soon.
Yeah, certainly could. Just in case anyone watching is wondering why there are no Ferraris on the fields, I've seen it's been mentioned a few times in the chat. We did have a lot of Ferraris running in season 8 and 9, but yeah, for this season it was decided to ban it. Basically, it was of course the big discussion of how well the cars are balanced and all these things. Maybe the Ferrari was a bit overpowered, and for this season the decision was taken to remove it from the field and see how everything turned out. Audi has then turned into the most popular car for this season, but I don't think it's quite the amount of Audis relative to the rest as it was amount of Ferraris in previous seasons.
No, the percentage of Audis against the percentage of Ferraris is not quite as extreme, but the Audi has definitely been the favoured car for the season. But the Z4s have actually done very well, mainly in the hands of Heidi, but Villalobos, as we can see, right up there in 5th place. So a good representation for the German mark. Well, of course, BMW and Audi, of course, both German marks. And now it does look like Jardier is ever so slightly... Oh, Popsu has got a penalty. He's just given himself a 1-second penalty. That is really going to hurt. And 28-1 for the red Audi last time around. Oh,
yeah, you off the track a little bit and gotten that penalty and nearly off the track again as you came.
Yeah, you saw him just go a little bit too deep at the Fogarty S's again, and Gibbs is still nailed to the back of Z4, and this is for 5th then. Can he overhaul Villalobos? No, he chose not to go for the dive at the Melbourne hairpin. It's Villalobos has not been able to break away from him, so he's still got to push very hard to try and break away. Lap 17 of lap 18 rather of 41. If the rain's going to come at the halfway point, it is going to be here within the next few laps.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big unknown that I'm sure all the drivers are sitting thinking about in their cockpit at the moment. Just when will this rain come and how will it affect my race? Of course, we do have a mandatory pit stop for this season as well for these drivers. You'd expect all of the drivers to wait until the track has gotten wet and then decide whether they need to get some wet tires on the car. Either way, everyone does have to go through the pit lane at some point before the final 5 laps of the race.
Yep. So we're not gonna see a repeat of what was it, Zolder last season, where the race winner stayed out on slicks.
Yeah. Wow, that's actually a bit of a shame because that made for some really crazy stuff.
That was probably the highest pitch I'd screamed because it was also a non-Ferrari winner as well. Oh, who was it? To my shame, I've forgotten.
Tidsney,
yes.
In that, yeah, he was in the Audi, of course.
He was at the time, yeah. Sadly, not with us. Not with us this time, unfortunately. But yeah, that was it was a brilliant call, and he was so struggling. He was losing so much time in the dying stages of that particular race. Never mind. As Storm has actually lost half a second on Jardier to Heidi, quicker than the pair of them, but to Heidi still quite some way down, although my overlay was trying to tell me he was a minute and a half behind for a second, but no, he's still about 5 seconds behind Storm, so he's managing to maintain the pace but not really close it down any, but he could come absolutely alive when the rain falls. Gibbs and Villalobos continue their battle for 5th position. The Z4 has broken away ever so slightly. Half a second gap between the pair of them now in the Z4's favour. And Alexis and Scott are getting close together. The Lamborghini now in a position to start putting some pressure on the blue Mercedes. So that could be a challenge for 9th place between those two. And Noah and Odon. Odon, because it still says Odon on my screen, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, he's been the hunter all season. On my screen, it still says Odon. So Noah and the
is playing around with me.
So Noah and the hunter in their particular battle. That's actually Nagram in the next Rainbow Lamborghini behind them. So he could well get involved in that battle for 13th place. Oh, Storm's made a mistake. He's now 2 seconds behind. He's made a mistake somewhere.
Deja vu.
Yeah, he's lost another 6/10. So exactly as last time I went ooh and panicked a little bit when he lost a big chunk of time. I think he's just done the same thing again, just put a wheel on the dust somewhere. It's allowed to Heidi to close in by half a second, but still 4.3 behind him. So he's not going to be worried too much as we are now on lap 20. The rain will be due. If we jump on the copy, you'll see the cloud cover. It's not particularly dark, but the rain is due at some point. Of course,
so we know at some point. Really.
Yeah. So that, I mean, normally we've had a lot of people pit by now, but it hasn't really happened because of the wet conditions. As Ironic is getting on the back of Alexis, so that's a potential battle forming of Mercedes Lambo. That's a battle for overall 9th place. So Alexis actually closed in half a second on Alexis and a couple of tenths on Scott. So he is closing in with some decent pace in the Lamborghini. Yeah, normally...
Yeah, his charges stopped a little bit though, because Saronic of course dropped down to last with his mistake on the first lap, but then he went very quickly up to sort of 11, 12, 13 area, but then his his progress stopped a little bit, but yeah, as I said, he's right behind a couple of cars now, so maybe he can make his way into the top 10 again.
Absolutely, as Gibbs still trying to do something against Villalobos there for 5th position. As mentioning earlier, we do have a mandatory pit stop. Wow, De Heide with a 27.1 and just took a big chunk of time out of the gap between himself and Storm. So now he's really getting into his rhythm just in time for it to start raining. Popsu's nearly 6 seconds down. Wow, he is struggling comparatively speaking in that Audi.
It's hard to say why that is. He's had good lap times at times in this race. But it seems like he's a bit inconsistent for whatever reason, whereas the top 3 are all, apart from Storm's two little mistakes, top 3 all running very, very fast constantly.
Yep, so we have a mandatory pit stop that must be served after 1 racing lap has been completed, so on lap 3 onwards, and before 5 laps from the end, so before lap 37. So before lap 37 has begun and after lap 3 has begun. So that is the window through which these guys must serve the mandatory pit stop. Normally these guys will serve it, well, fairly scattered. Some people choose to do their pit stop very early. We saw that used to very great effect earlier in the season. Some choose to keep it till quite late, but of course with the changeable conditions, most people are hanging on. I think almost everybody indeed has hung on to complete their pit stop later in this race. Another 27.1 by De Heide suddenly come alive. He's wanting to close that gap down to the Audi. He's probably wanted to close that gap down to the Audis all race long, to be fair. But he's really suddenly come alive. 27.5 by Jardier, 27.6 by Storm, and again 27.1 by De Heide. So he's knocked a second off that gap between himself and Storm in 2 laps.
Yeah, interesting. Is the tires holding up better for the Z4, maybe? It's hard to say exactly why the Z4 is kicking in at this particular point in the race, or is De Heide just a little bit more focused behind the wheel at this moment in time than the top 2? Something, anyway, is making De Heide is caught even more seconds than this half a lap here, so De Heide is on a move.
Absolutely is. Just saw Storm going out of the shot there, so Storm is from being in striking distance of Jardier, is either just kind of maintaining his pace and waiting for... Oh, that's Dinder that's got a penalty. Another 2 seconds. So Villalobos as well. So Villalobos... Popsu, Villalobos, Dinder, Noah and Hunter have all got penalties on the board. Oh, speaking of those two, they've swapped positions. No, Hunter is now behind the Audi. So at some point he's lost out. He lost nearly a second in the last lap, so I suspect it's happened there. Zenny is on the back of Dinder. Of course, with that penalty for the Mercedes, he won't have to push as hard, but he may not be. He's probably not aware of the... Oh, that's a big moment for Zenny. That's a little bit too committed to the final turn. He'll know that Dinder has got a penalty. He will see that on his overlay. And look at that. That's Ironic and Alexis getting quite close together as well. So we're starting to see the field get into their own little battles. But of course, the rain is due, so it might not necessarily be what they want. 27-0 from De Heide. It's another 6 tenths off of Storm, and Storm's lost another 10th actually to Jardier. So, absolutely, it's not fuel either, because you can see they're pretty heavy. 42, 44, 52. Wow, De Heide is actually very heavy on fuel compared to the 2 ahead of him, but absolutely amazing that De Heide's just decided to get the hammer down now, unless, of course, well, I'd say even with these lap times, I don't think Storm and Jardier are backing off any. We know that they have done 26 in the lap times. I don't think they're intentionally kind of backing off. I just think De Heide's decided to get the hammer down now because he doesn't have Popsu on his tail. Popsu 8 seconds down from this battle, so maybe kind of that. But, you know, when you get your eyes on the prize, when you can see how much you're closing in on your adversaries, it can spur you on. Another 27-1 for De Heide, another 4 tenths off the gap between himself and Storm. Jardier has lost a couple of tenths to Storm. It's 2 seconds between the two now. So whether they're keeping an eye to the sky, again, the cloud cover doesn't look that heavy, so I don't think the rain is going to come anytime soon. I do wonder whether we're actually going to get a repeat of Zolder where it appears right at the end of the race.
Yeah, could well be, since there's no sign of the rain coming down at this moment in time, apart from there being some clouds, but there's no water coming out of them yet. But yeah, I don't see any reason why Jada and Storm would, take it more easy because the rain coming, or any other reason really. I'm sure they are pushing, but for whatever reason, Jada is just that little bit quicker at the moment. That's 4 laps in a row at least, I think. That's the Heidi. It's been quicker, and back on board then with Ironic. He's chasing after his teammates for the Oscaro Esports team. They're sitting 6th in the team championship, I believe, so I'm sure they want to maybe work together to get Scott, who's ahead of them. But Alex has been stuck behind Scott for quite a few laps now, and not really made too much of an impression.
Yeah,
Zay, of course, just ahead, who just made a mistake, so yeah, this could be some close battling coming up, hopefully. That's of course what we want to see.
And Dinder's not actually too far in front of that battle, so there's a couple of seconds between himself and that chasing Audi, which brings with it that big pack, so we could start seeing another 5-car train forming within the next few laps. Rather depends on how they do. And again, another half a second for Heidi. It's now 2.3 or 2.5 there or thereabouts. Oh, did he slow down there? He slowed down. Oh, he got a slow down penalty. Oh no, he just suddenly had to back off.
It's got an actual penalty as well now. He's been pushing so hard, he's got a little bit
Heidi
limits, and that's 1 second for him, and it's dropped a couple of seconds as well. So unfortunately, that has undone all the good work that Heidi did in the last few laps.
What a great shame, and that's 2 Desert Pack that's directly behind him. So, what a shame for Heidi. He really was doing well to close that gap down. Storm does seem to not be quite there on the pace at the moment. Could just be managing the tyres. I wouldn't imagine they're wearing down. I mean, these hard tyres can do pretty well, so I wouldn't imagine it would be heat if it was anything else.
Yeah.
And this 4-way battle is still... Oh, Ironic, that was just about legal. He really had to slow that car down a lot, more than he would have liked. Scott, though, getting right with Zenny. We saw these two swap positions a while ago, so that is battle for 8th position. Scott looks like he's in a prime position to attack now. They come through the last turn. There is Dinder as well, a couple of seconds ahead of the Audi. And that's 1.5 seconds back to Alexis, so Storm can't afford a mistake here. Otherwise he's going to lose probably the position to the pair of Lambos. He gained 3/10 on Zenny last time around. And opened up 4 cents to Alexis, so Alexis didn't have a good run. Neither did Ironic, actually, but we saw Ironic go very, very deep into the Fogarty S's. Yeah, and there's the lap time from Heidi, 31, so he lost 4 seconds in that particular, which is actually greater than the penalty he got. So a big problem then for Heidi, but of course straight back on it as the lap has progressed. 27.8 for Jardier last time, so he lost nearly half a second to Storm. And when we say they're backing off, they're still like pushing 98.7%. They're still absolutely going for it. They're just not quite pushing absolutely pedal to the metal. There's another 4/10s actually to Storm's favour. 27.9 for Jardier, 28.3 for Heidi. So need to get back into that rhythm.
I think Heidi might have given up a little bit. I think he had a hope before he had a slowdown on the penalty, because even though it would have been hard still to close the gap down before the end of the race, even at the rate he was doing it, I think the hope was there. But now I think he depends on Jada and Storm to start battling again, at least to slow each other down. But Storm is actually catching Jada at the moment a little bit, so you never know, it could happen.
Zenny and Scott, swap position. The blue Mercedes has managed to overtake the Audi. The Audi lost 1.4 seconds in the last lap, so that's a mistake he's made. And Alexis is right there to capitalise in case Zenny goes a little bit wide again. Ironic not too far behind. Ironic gained 3/10 on his teammate last time around. So that's what it looks like from Alexis's perspective. Daisy Dinder further up the road. Now through Coppice once again. Well, Alexis a little deep, but nothing too bad. The clouds, I wonder whether they're getting a bit darker, but you can still see the patches of sun on the ground, so certainly no sign of any rain just yet. Nope, you would see it landing on the windscreen, so nothing there yet. But it's one of these things that keeps the drivers anxious because they know it's going to be there, and they're all. Oh, this is unusual life from Alexis there. I think he slowed down a little bit more than he was anticipating there. It's something that keeps the drivers on edge. They know it's coming. It's just all a matter of when.
Yeah. Definitely is. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, even if the rain doesn't come, I mean, everyone's going to just storm into the pits then with 5 laps to go, pretty much.
Yeah.
Technically they could pit now, but of course, yeah, it's the uncertainty about whether the rain will come down hard enough for them to have to change tires at the end of the race. So I think everyone's just staying out and seeing what happens, or what will happen with the weather.
Storm just lost 2 seconds. 29.2,
okay.
So yeah, he's lost a couple of seconds in that last lap. As I said, Heidi there, just in the background. So of course that's going to close that gap up. But Jardier now has 3.5 seconds or thereabouts as a breathing space. But I mean, if these guys kind of get towards that all-important lap 35-36 and it's still dry, we are basically going to have a repeat of Zolder, but with everybody on slicks. Yeah. We did see, I think it was Jardier and Popsy both pitted, which then allowed Tidgney to play an absolute blinder and come through on the slicks.
And it was almost comical the way Tidgney was just driving so slowly, just tiptoeing around the wet track on slicks.
He was getting unlapped as well by the back markers.
Yeah, he was, but he still managed to just about get it home for the guys who actually did change tires.
Yeah.
That was quite a spectacle. But yeah, it's going to be... Well, everyone has to go in the pits, so we'll see what happens. We'll just have to wait and see, really. And Zenny is trying to challenge Scott's back then.
Yeah, he's been crossing swords with this blue Mercedes pretty much all race long. Won the swap positions a few times in the race. Ironic is not far at the back of Adalexis either. Adalexis can't do anything in that particular battle. The Audi getting close again. He stayed within 3/10 all lap long. He's looking to pressure for a mistake. Just seen Dinder go out of the shot, but he is too far at the race. A good 3.5 seconds between the two Mercedes. Zenny is so close, pushing the Mercedes almost up the hill, then through Coppice once more. He'll want to stay as close as he can. Melbourne hairpin really is the best opportunity he's going to have to try a late braking move. But he needs to be very close, and it all hinges on this chicane. And he went for an earlier apex, whether he got caught out by Scott's braking point, but that's actually disrupted the momentum. Oh, that's Adalexis running a little wide on the exit of the chicane, and that was enough to put Zenny off. So whether that was an intentional sort of change of line by Scott there to throw Zenny off, or whether it was just a mistake, that has denied Zenny the opportunity to try and move into the hairpin.
Yeah, they still got the pressure on, though that is a bit loose actually from Scott through the final corner. This could give Zenny the run he needs. He's very, very close indeed. Scott is feeling the need to defend this. Is Zenny going to be super late on the brakes? It is actually. He's going to be too deep though, yes. He's gotten it back to the apex, but Scott is still ahead of the Audi. So the Merc holding the Audi behind and doing a good job at the moment. Zenny though running very close down the hill. It's going to be hard for Zenny really to see where he's going.
Yeah.
That Merc right in front of him from inside the cockpit. But yeah, Zenny is fighting back. He was not happy with Scott taking away his 8th place.
Indeed. He's trying his best to get the Mercedes out of position. That was well defended there by Scott. So, good positioning of the Mercedes. Ironic is still... Ooh, that was a bit close. Oh, it looked close from this camera angle. 2000 Pack may have actually done quite sufficient to get out of the way of that. So the two Lambos are looking to have a duel, as well as the Audi and Mercedes as previously mentioned. Oh, that's not a good run through the chicane for Zenny. He got a bit loose coming into that. So that's pretty much denied him. Looks like Ironic, who has been closing in on Alexis for a while. He looks poised to do something about it. You can see Alexis does take a much tighter line through that hairpin, interestingly. I've noticed it for quite a few laps, where Alexis just seems to prefer a tighter apex, which, it's not a particularly big straight between the hairpin and the final turn, so yeah, you could look to try and get on the gas a bit earlier, but generally you want a greater exit speed of any corner. And still Zenny is pushing Scott down the road. We've actually lost someone from the race. As
it's Van Omen, yeah.
Van Omen has gone, yeah. That is a great shame. So 2 Desert Bank brings his car in. He's had enough of those tyres. No sign of the rain yet. So he's...
Come on, Rain, what are you doing?
Yeah. So 2 Desert Bank doesn't want to wait any longer. He is getting his pit stop out of the way. Nagram is right with Hunter, who is right with Noah. So there's a battle there for 13th place. There they are, the 2 Lambos and the Audi. And the battles we've just been seeing with Zenny and Scott and Alexis and Ironic. The gap at the front now is 4 seconds. There enough between Jardier and Storm. And I would think that Tahidi is closing in. Oh, Storm is in. That's interesting. Again, no sign of the rain.
Has he? Okay. Oh, something interesting is going on. He's sort of sliding down the pit lane a little bit. But I think he's managed to get his pit stop done.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't long enough for tyres, so he is going for the all-dry strategy.
Yeah, I mean, if he's pitting while he's still dry, there's no reason to change tyres. Ooh, nearly came out right in the path of Villalobos, which actually could have been crucial. Villalobos is Heidi's teammate, so if they're communicating with each other, then I'm sure Heidi would have liked him to hold him up a little bit, but unfortunately for them, Storm just managed to squeeze ahead of the Z4. So Lexus in one of those Lamborghinis coming in as well. Gibbs temporarily up to 4th place as the Storm comes out a bit right behind him. Which could be interesting, yeah. Storm is going to have to make an overtake here, potentially, and that could lose him some time. Heidi was only a couple of seconds behind him when Storm pitted. So if Storm gets caught in a sort of major battle with Gibbs here, then could be crucial for that 2nd place.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they didn't leave it a bit later, but maybe they just had enough of the tyre. Well, they haven't changed tyres, so yeah, it's a bit of an unusual one for Storm. Not quite sure why he's chosen to do that. He's obviously deciding that if the rain is going to come, he wants to tiptoe around it on the slicks. Fair enough. Yes, that's your choice.
We've seen it work before.
We have seen it before, yes. I mean, it does take a long time to change all 4 tyres in these things, so he's looking to basically capitalise on the time he didn't lose in the pits against the time he will lose on track. But he is stuck behind Gibbs now, so it's if he loses, if the gain he has made in the pit stop, he's undone by traffic.
I see rain. The raindrops are starting to fall here with 9 laps of the race to go.
Oh, it is! Oh, I think you're right. Yes, it is! Oh, no! Storm could potentially face that. It's too early, really, to be tiptoeing on dries around a wet circuit. That has gone very badly wrong for Storm. He's shooting. There it is. Look, you can see how heavily it's starting to fall. He was wanting that rain to basically appear in the closing stages. There's no way he can make it work tiptoeing on dries for this long. This is lap 33. It's way, way too early to make that kind of strategy work. That is going to backfire badly for Storm.
You would think so, at least. That could be a crucial moment in this championship, really. I mean, of course, Storm does have a good gap in the standings. 36 points to the Heidi, 46 points to Jair before this race. But that could come down quite drastically if Storm has actually made a poor strategic choice here. We will have to wait and see, though, how quickly this rain comes down. That's another uncertainty, really. But yeah, it's still quite a way to go in this race. So you would think that it's going to get too wet for slicks at some point before the end.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? Is how quickly will the track saturate? How quickly will the rain actually fall? Because if it doesn't fall much harder than this, it will just make it a little bit more slippery. But of course, the top guys still have to pit And if they feel the need to come back out on the slicks, which will be a hell of a risk, then, you know, it's we could well see Storm actually still come through and be on the podium. So it's all ifs and buts and maybes at the moment, but the last thing Storm wanted was someone right in front of him. So, of course, now the track's getting slipperier and slipperier. He does not want to have to make a pass. And lo and behold, there he goes. No sooner do I say that I think either Gibbs just went deep or got out of the way and has let Storm go. But it's going to keep an eye on the lap times. So he did a 28.0 last time, so not losing a great deal of time. The top three still in the 27s. No sign of them coming in anytime soon. But, of course, the more the rain falls, the harder this goes. And there goes Jardier. So, race leader Jardier has come in. Is De Heide doing the same? No, De Heide has been on great pace for a while. No, Jardier doesn't change tyres. So he is looking to tiptoe on the slick tyres, if I can get the right phrase out. Where is he going to be where's Storm? Where is Storm? Just coming around the last turn. So Jardier is going to come back out. Comes out behind Popsu, interestingly, but of course the top two still have to pit. Jardier is still ahead of Storm by about 7.5 seconds. Gibbs and Villalobos both come in. So it's all going to be... I'm curious to see if anybody is going to change tyres.
Yeah. Gibbs
is sat there for a while.
Sat there for a bit, yeah. Villalobos in the box as well. This will be very interesting indeed. I mean, if they're pitting this early, they could still wait another 2 or 3 laps before they have to pit.
Yeah.
Another 2 laps, I think, is what they could wait. Ooh, that looks close for Gibbs, getting out just behind Nick Meadow in that McLaren, who has yet to pit, of course. So, yeah, a few different choices, but it looks like maybe they feel like it started raining too late for it to get wet enough for them to need the wet tyres.
Could well be. So, De Heide leads from Popsu by 10.5 seconds. Of course, the top two still have to pit, as previously mentioned. Jardier is on the back of Popsu, and Storm is 7.6 behind Jardier. So, whatever strategy they've committed to, they've both done the same choice. And Jardier has got 7.5 seconds worth of breathing space between himself and the next down the road. No, De Heide's still not. He's got to come in at the end of this lap. If he does not, then he will be disqualified post-race. Popsu the same. So we're basically going to see a mass amount of people. I think what De Heide's doing, he's going to judge the grip levels at the end of this race. Not really seeing any standing water appear, although I think the rain has just got very heavy very suddenly. So we could well see the track start to really get saturated. Dinder has brought his car in. Zenny is in. Ironic is in. No no tyres for the Lamborghini or the Audi or the Mercedes. Everybody is coming back out on the slicks. So everybody is trying their luck. And look at that. That's Gibbs and Nick Meadow. Elevated to 7th for now before their pit stops. They're still getting the 29s. Of course, Gibbs had come out of the pit, so his last lap 48. But Nick Meadow still with the 29s on the lap time. Popsu with a 30 last time. Noah is in, Hunter is in, and Colonel McCoy in. So lots of people get.
This rain is really coming down now, isn't it?
It's definitely gotten heavier in the last few. There is Jardier behind Popsu.
I'm hoping that it gets super tricky just to see how everyone copes on these slicks in this weather, like who can cope the best. As De Heide from the lead of the race is into the pit lane and parking it in his box. Surely no tyre change either for him, you would think anyway.
He's there for a while. Jardier's back in the lead then. He sat there a while. Here comes Storm. Storm's going to be through into second.
Is De Heide maybe doing the tyre change?
I reckon he is, because that was quite a while he was sat there for.
Yeah, he was ahead of Storm, of course, remember, before all the pit stops started happening. And now he's significantly behind. So that could actually have been a tyre change for De Heide.
Popsu's underway. Scott's just brought the Mercedes in. That's definitely not a tyre change for him. So Popsu back out in 4th, where he was pre-pit stop. Yeah, there's now 12 seconds between De Heide and Storm. So Nick Meadow has brought the McLaren in. So anyone that haven't been keeping a check on who hasn't pitted, but I think there's some that haven't. So that we could be seeing some post-race Post-race disqualifications, because I think some people have left it too late. So anyone that hasn't pitted...
I think the Heidi and Nick Miller just about went in the end of 36, which should be the last opportunity, I believe.
So anyone that hasn't pitted... Yeah, that was a big snap there by De Heidi. So anyone that hasn't pitted now will not have fulfilled the requirement, therefore will be disqualified post-race. So we will see then if that happens to anybody. We've lost...
I've noticed Villalobos is dropped as well. So I think both of the BMW Z4s have done the tyre change in this closing stage, whereas the majority of the rest of the field is still on
the slicks.
On the slicks they started the race on.
I tell you what, with the way that... Look at the rain! If that carries on like that, De Heidi is now... He's losing time against Storm. So I think he did do the charge.
It's not got enough yet. De Heidi needs rain to come down as hard as it possibly can. And for everyone else to be forced to tiptoe around. Yeah, but the track is starting to get very, very shiny. It's getting towards wet conditions. And De Heidi is in a prime position because you look, I mean, we saw how much time was being lost. Big amount of twitching going on! Too much! That's way too much, De Heidi. That's going to lose him third place to Popsu. Oh, no, it's not gone. He took a gamble on the wet tyres, and it has not worked for De Heidi, unfortunately. So, that is a great shame. Jardier, 5.30. He has lost time against Storm. I'm not really surprised as the track continues to get slipperier. But it's not gone well for De Heidi. I mean, if De Heidi wins, he's now 30 seconds down from the lead. Then he's earned it, quite frankly. You never know. The track could suddenly deteriorate, but yeah, at the moment it seems like De Heidi is the one struggling. Those wet tyres are not... Well, the track is not wet enough for the wet tyres, it would seem, anyway. Which has promoted, though, Popsu into the podium positions again. He started on pole, didn't have the best race, really, considering where he started, but he's now then on course for his first podium of the season.
Interesting, he's not using traction control. That's brave.
Ooh, that is brave. Yeah, of course. The authentic driving assist is enabled, which of course means traction control and ABS is allowed, because that's what these cars have in real life. But drivers can choose to take them off if they want to. Now we're seeing the lap time starting to come down. Go up rather. 29.3 for Jardier. So I think he's starting to struggle in these wet conditions, but it's just not gone the way De Heidi had hoped. But as De Heidi's rather proven, all it takes is one spin for it all to come completely unstuck. There is Storm in second. Popsu now up to third, coming through Coppice. So there's quite a gap between Popsu and Storm, 18 seconds no less, and that lead is continuing to drop. It's 3.5 seconds. Actually. Yeah, 3.5 seconds, Jardier to Storm. So whatever setup Storm is running, he's just much more comfortable in these slipperier conditions than Jardier. 2 laps to go. Let's see the lap times this time around. As you can see, the lap times are definitely getting slower. Jardier with a 30.8 and Storm with a 28.6. So Jardier has not had a good lap. Jardier is struggling. At least he was on that lap in these wet conditions. Yep, Popsu. De Heidi's basically falling into the clutches of Scott now as well. So the wet tyres are not. Well, there you go. That's working. That's the view from the Mercedes. He's caught right to the back of De Heidi. And De Heidi doesn't look like he's got an answer. He needed a lot more standing water a lot earlier. He'll get it, but he won't get it in time to help him. Those tyres are probably already dead on De Heidi's car. And look at that. Scott just gets, even on slicks, on a slippery track, Scott's got better traction than De Heidi in the Z4. Slides through to fourth with De Heidi trying to hang on, but he's just got nothing. I think he's burned the best out of those tyres already. It wasn't the gamble that he'd hoped it would be. Villalobos there down in 12th is not faring much better against Nick Meadow in the McLaren. So that's a great shame for De Heidi. Oh, he's off again. So, yeah. Oh, he's going to lose more positions then. He's going to drop to Gibbs, has gone through. Zenny has gone through. Dinda's gone through. And Alexis is coming. And there he is through as well, so Heidi.
Ninth.
Gone from clear podium position to ninth place of the gamble. Yeah, unfortunately, I thought it would have been a decent gamble, really, because the track looks really wet to me. Anyway, you can see how much rain is falling down. But yeah, for whatever reason, the Wets are not liking it, and the Heidi has paid for it.
Yeah, that's the nature of the gamble. You can attempt. You can hope that it'll go your way. It's 1.1 seconds between Storm and Jardier. That lead could well change before the checkered flag falls. Jardier lost 1.6 seconds last lap. There is only a second between them. They both will know how much that lead has been shortening, lap on lap on lap. Look at the amount of opposite lock that Jardier had to put in to keep that one on the road. Through down Dunlop straight into the fog of DS's. Jardier just got to try and keep it on the black stuff. Storm's the one that's got the work to do. It's now just over half a second between the pair. Is Storm going to try something on the Melbourne hairpin? No! He thought about it, but just couldn't slow the car down. Now you're starting to see spray come off the tyres. It is now when De Heidi's tyres will come good, but way, way too late.
They're so close.
Storm only just slowing his car down. Jardier just has to sprint to the line. Can he hold him off? 0.2 of a second was what the gap was. 130 dead for Storm. 1.5 seconds to the good. Jardier has taken the win. Popsu's going to come across the line in third place. He's just coming into that final turn. And Scott's another 5 seconds down the road, so no immediate danger for Popsu. Don't wiggle too much, you could well throw it in the wall. Popsu then crosses the line. There is Scott in the blue Mercedes. He is quite happy about that. Gibbs in the Thrustmaster coloured Audi. Zenny is right with Dinder as well. So that's one of the Lambos just seen in the distance. So Gibbs crosses the line in 5th, Dinder 6th, Zenny in 7th. There is De Heidi, managed to get 8th. Ironic and Alex very close. 1.5 tenths between those two. And bang! Well, that's one way to reshape the Mercedes. Nick Meadow crosses the line in 11th in the McLaren. There is Nagram in the Lambo. Villalobos fell to 13th in the end. Well, that's Colonel McCoy right with him, and that's the last of the runners. Where's Noah? Oh, beg your pardon, Noah's the last one. And yeah, there we go. And this is going to be your confirmed finishers.
What a race that was! That was a much closer finish than I thought it would have.
Yeah.
With 10 laps to go, the wet really played into Storm's hands, did he? Great job to close the gap, but Jardier just about hanging on to it. Did enough to get his first win of the season for the reigning champion ahead of Storm. Crucial for his championship hopes. Popsu with his first podium of the season. Good race for him after taking pole position as well, which means a bonus point in addition to the points he gets for third. Scott, another good race for him in 4th place. Gibbs, by far his best result of the season, I believe, in 5th. Zenny in 6th as well, another good result. The Heidi, unfortunately, we know what happened. Dropping to 7th in the end. Because Dinder, who actually did cross the line in 7th, he's got 12 seconds of penalties there. So I wonder if that's something that might get removed. But
I would imagine so.
Yeah. Either way, that was the race.
Whew, wasn't it just? And Storm has made himself available to talk to, so that's going to be fun. Let's drag him over. Hello, Storm.
One lap. I needed one lap to do it. Come on.
Wow. That was an incredible finish for you against Jardier in your namesake's weather conditions. That was absolutely incredible. Yeah, how was it for you?
Quite difficult. The setup was not ready, basically, for both qualifying and the race. So yeah, it was basically running baseline. So I had to deal with this. But at the end, I was just 1 centimeter away from the win.
Wow, so close. So did you ever contemplate when the rain started to fall, did you think, oh, it's going to be wet, or were you confident on staying with the dries?
Totally confident. I knew like 10 laps before the end of the race that the track was still well, I could still run dry tires on the track. So yeah, it was. I thought rain would come a little bit earlier in the race, but well, as soon as we got into the last 10 laps, I knew the track was still going to be drivable with dry tires. So yeah.
Awesome stuff. Great effort. And yeah, what an incredible race then. Let's grab over our race winner, Mr. Honzik. Hello, Jadier. He's that stunned he's not even talking. Jadier.
Oh
Yeah.
man, this is the first
Wow.
time Jadier has not spoken
Yeah.
upon request.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Jadier is speechless.
He's got his first win of the season, so yeah, I guess I can make you speechless. Then.
Yeah, can you hear me, guys?
Yay!
Yay! Oh my god! I was
Congrats, buddy.
talking. Dude!
Jadier, how are you feeling? You must be pretty stoked after that one.
First of all, I'm soaked wet as hell. Second
Oh,
of all,
I
was
want
it-
to
That's
ask-
right.
Was it raining in your house?
Oh, it almost looks like that. But by the way, Storm, have you been on softs or wet tires?
No hard tires for the whole
What?
race. Yeah.
Your
Wow.
pace in the end was insane. I don't understand in the wet conditions how you were that fast. That was
I don't
heads
know.
off,
I
man.
don't know,
Heads
man.
off. Heads
Thanks,
off,
buddy.
because that was
Hats up for
crazy.
your win, man. Hats up for your win. You were just untouchable today.
Thank you, man. I was doing everything I could to hold you.
Yeah. Well, once it started to rain, I felt like I had a good pace and just saw the gap decreasing like hell.
Yeah, I don't understand. I really don't have the words what happened.
I don't know.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's we when you came out of the pit, Jadier, you had 7.5 seconds over Storm. Were you quite confident on the dries as well at the point that you pitted, or did you contemplate wets at all?
Well, after I was like for 5 laps, I was considering go wet or go hard tires and stay on the same tires. And then I was like, okay, it's like 4 laps to go, 5 laps to go. I'm gonna stay on the hard tires, on the same tires I had the whole race. And when I left the pit and when I seen the Heidi pit as well and Popsu, and I have seen Storm is on the same tires as I am, I was like, okay, either we are gonna get our ass kicked, both of us, because it's gonna start raining like crazy. You know, remember Tolder last year? And,
Oh, we were talking about Older a lot.
and it didn't happen. And I was like, okay, now I'm fine. 7 seconds to serve. And suddenly, in the middle sector, he was giving me like 1.5 second per lap. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I didn't understand what's going on. It
Incredible
was
stuff.
absolutely brilliant pace. And man, I'm so glad the race was over.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I understand.
You put on a great show for us, gentlemen. It has been a great pleasure commentating your race. Any questions your side, Fizzy?
Not really. I just applaud your racing. It was good.
Absolutely. I think that's going to bring an end to festivities for this evening. Thank you very much to those in the stream that have been watching us. And we hope that you've been entertained by this evening's race. Always a great pleasure to have you along. Thank you, Fizzy, for tolerating me in the commentary box. It's always a great pleasure, sir.
Yeah, likewise. And make sure everyone watches. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button. Also, I was going to actually promote something because there is another PC Project Cars 2 League that will be starting up again. That is season 4 of the Endurance League. So
Yes.
sign-ups are currently open for that. So if you don't think 1 hour races is long enough for you, then you can do some 2 hour and 2.4 hour races in Endurance League. That should be starting in about a month.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Jada is just
Yeah.
just the thought of it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
and so that's something. Make sure you head over to the apexonlineracing.com forums to get in on that one if you want to. But anyway, feel free to send us off.
Indeed. So, again, thank you very much for those that have been with us. Head over to the forums if you want to get involved in any of the leagues we have over here in Apex Online Racing. Head over to the forums, apexonlineracing.com. Sign up, get involved. You may have crazy people like me and Fizzy screaming about your on-track antics. But for now, it is thank you very much. We will see you back here for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night!